Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Uyai Anyekan, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the major stories. Presidential Election Tribunal adjourned sitting to hear PDP APM's petition to Tuesday. Plus, Ukrainian Mayor Vitaly Klitschko says at least 5 people injured in airstrikes across the country. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We'll begin the news this afternoon with a report that the federal government has confirmed the planned inauguration of the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery on May 2023. The company had indicated that the $19 billion plant will be inaugurated before President Muhammadu Buhari leaves office. In his tweet, Special Assistant to the President on Digital Communications, Bashir Ahmed, who confirmed the development, stated that efforts by the federal government to make Nigeria self-sufficient in local refining of crude oil to save the scarce foreign exchange used in the importation of petroleum products have received a boost as the 650,023 by President Buhari. Meanwhile, the federal government has said all Nigerians fleeing the insurrection in Sudan but got stranded at the Egypt border have been. Nasir Sani Guazo stated this when he received another batch of Nigerian evacuees at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja. Sani Guazo said a total of 834 Nigerian evacuees from Egypt and Port Sudan arrived at the airport, bringing to the number 1,471 of Nigerians so far evacuated and brought back to Nigeria from Egypt and Port Sudan in 5 days. He said the first batch comprising 282 evacuees, second batch 134 evacuees. The permanent secretary noted that no single Nigerian is currently at the Egyptian border, adding that those in Port Sudan would also be evacuated in a few days. On judicial matters, the Supreme Court has fixed May 9 for judgment in the appeal filed by judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which affirmed Adeleke's victory in the last governorship election in Osun State. A 5-member panel of the Supreme Court announced the date after taking arguments from lawyers to parties today. Recall that the appeal court had in its judgment set aside an earlier judgment by the Osun governorship election petition tribunal, which held in favor of Oyetola and removed Ademola Adeleke. Meanwhile, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja, the nation's capital, has adjourned its sitting to Tuesday. It also had APP. The proceedings Tuesday will have Atiku Abubakar's petition and Allied People's Movement in its schedule. Recall that the tribunal had commenced pre-hearing of the petitions challenging the outcome of the February 25 presidential election. In a related development, the Action Alliance AA has withdrawn the petition it filed against the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC and the President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. The party today, through its team of lawyers led by Oba Madubuchi San, applied to discontinue further proceedings in the matter shortly after the Presidential Election Petition Court PEPC kick-started its pre-hearing session. Oba San told the court that the petitioner's Haruna Tasmin led 5-member panel dismissed the petition. In the meantime, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, NICN, sitting in Benin City, Edo State capital, has declared as unconstitutional, illegal, null and void, delivering judgment. Justice A.A. Adewimo ruled that the state government was wrong to have suspended trade union activities in the AAU and other tertiary institutions in the state. Recall that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Ambrose Ali University chapter, had approached the NICN through its lawyer Kingsley Obamogie in a suit to challenge the directive of Governor Godwin Obaseki suspending all unions in the state's tertiary institutions. The suit, while Obaseki, the state attorney general, and the Edo state government were the defendants. Away from that, the Code of Conduct Bureau (CCB) has said that the President-elect Bola Tinubu, Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima, and 28 incoming governors must declare their assets before May 29. It said other officials, including senators-elect and reps-elect, are expected to declare their assets before June 5, when they will be sworn in. The CCB spokesperson Veronica Kato told newsmen in Abuja that asset declaration was an integral part of the swearing-in ceremony, according to the law. She disclosed that several elected officials had started picking their assets declaration forms at the CCB state offices nationwide, and that they were expectant of the federal constitution attracts conviction, removal from office, disqualification from holding any public office, and forfeiture to the state of any property acquired in abuse of office or dishonesty against the federal government for allegedly failing to recover over 40 billion naira double pay and life pensions from former governors who are serving as lawmakers and ministers. Serap disclosed this in a statement by its Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, recalling how Justice Oguntoyinbo of the High Court, Lagos, ordered the federal government in November 2019 to recover life pensions collected by former governors serving as ministers and members of the National Assembly. Justice Oguntoyinbo also directed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami to challenge the legality of state life pension laws permitting former governors and other ex-public officials to collect such pensions. The rights group regretted that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari has failed to implement the judgment. Judgment has not been implemented. In another development, Kenyan President William Ruto has congratulated the President-elect Bola Tinubu on his victory at the February 25 presidential poll, saying he looks forward to working with him. A statement by Tinubu's media said the congratulatory message was contained in Nigeria and the East African country. Among other things, the Kenyan leader offered to work with Tinubu to consolidate the long-standing relationship between both countries. In his response, the president-elect expressed his desire of economic growth, development, and tackling insecurity in line with his agenda for the Nigerian people. We move now to Africa, where United Nations humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths has arrived in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. For talk is in Jeddah to engage in humanitarian issues related to Sudan. Reports say representatives from Sudan's warring armies have also arrived in Saudi Arabia for their face-to-face negotiations. The Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) have reportedly said they will discuss a humanitarian truce but not an end to the conflict. Meanwhile, hundreds of refugees fleeing ongoing violent unrest in Sudan have reportedly crossed the border into Ethiopia. Reports say despite the latest ceasefire efforts backed by Saudi Arabia and the United States. According to reports, multiple truce deals have been declared and quickly violated since fighting erupted between army and paramilitary forces. On the foreign scene, Ukrainian Mayor Vitaly Klitschko says air raid sirens have sounded across the country after Russia launched a fresh wave of missile and drone strikes on cities around the country. According to the city's mayor, explosions were heard in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, where 5 people have been reportedly injured by falling debris from downed drones hitting 4 cities. Reports say it is the 4th attack on Kyiv in 8 days and comes just 24 hours before Russia celebrates its Victory Day. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military said the raids, which lasted more than. Still on the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has compared Russia to Nazi Germany as he proposed moving World War II Victory Day celebrations a day earlier to May 8 in a bill presented to lawmakers in Kyiv. Zelensky said Ukraine traditionally commemorates victory over the Nazis on May 9, but that date has become increasingly associated with a parade in Moscow used by the Kremlin to flex its military might. According to him, it is on May 8 that most nations of the world remember the greatness of the victory over the Nazis. Still to come in the news. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news. In business, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has said that for Nigeria to solve its housing deficit, it requires a fair and performing the groundbreaking of 550 Shongo homes and gardens under the Family Homes Fund in Gombe State. According to the Kaduna State Governor, the housing deficit stands at about 18 million naira, stressing that it was not sustainable to sell houses between 10 million naira and 50 million naira. He noted that mortgage policy would enable buyers to pay in 25 years' time, saying the incoming administration under President-elect Bola Tinubu would ensure single-digit interest between 15 to 20 years. El-Rufai further expressed optimism that states would be given the needed opportunity to operate, adding that states should devise means to survive without Federal Account Allocation Committee. Still in business, data from the petroleum industry has shown that petrol consumers may pay about 8.4 trillion naira for premium motor spirit PMS, popularly called petrol, between July and December 2023 if the federal government stops subsidy on PMS in June. Oil marketers explained that the average cost of petrol could rise to about 700 naira per litre from July, noting that the development means the expense by Nigerians for fully National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) Mary Kyari says over 66 million litres of PMS was pumped daily into the market by NNPC Limited to keep the country afloat. In health, the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC), Ifedayo Adetifa, has said the threat of the COVID-19 virus remains by the Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, that COVID-19 was no longer a public health emergency of international concern. The NCDC board said the WHO declaration was to enable countries transition from acute emergency response to managing COVID-19 as part of INSIN's 2022, adding that its focus is on encouraging COVID-19 vaccination and recommended discretionary use of face masks and other public health safety measures. Still in health, a hematologist and the Secretary General of the Nigeria Cancer Society, Dr. Salah Yaguda, has said cancer care can only be effective when all professionals involved in the treatment work as a team. Yaguda stated this at a cancer summit held in Lagos, stating that doctors, nurses, psychologists, and every health worker in the hospital has a role to play. Meanwhile, a professor of radiology and radiation medicine department, College of Medicine, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Professor Ifeoma Okoye, in her submission, said research has shown that the three most common cancers in Nigeria are prostate, cervical, and breast cancers. In sports, Lionel Messi returns to training with Paris Saint-Germain today, 6 days after Argentina's World Cup winning captain was suspended for going on an unauthorized trip to Saudi Arabia. His return makes it likely he will feature in PSG's home match with relegation-threatened Ajaccio next Saturday. PSG hold the whip hand in defending their League One title, a 6-point lead over Lens with 4 matches remaining. It would be recalled that he was suspended by a Qatar-owned club after failing to turn up for training last Monday. With a 3-set victory over Germany's Jan Lennart Struff, the 20-year-old Spaniard won 6-4, 3-6, 6-3 for his 4th trophy on the ATP Tour this season and 10th overall. Reports say he will be replacing Novak Djokovic at the top of the world rankings by playing in Rome next week. On our entertainment news, popular American rapper Aubrey Drake Graham, also known as Drake, has claimed he may be Nigerian following the outcome of a recent ancestry test by his family. Drake as returns. Sharing his dad's ancestry results on social media, Drake revealed he is 30% Nigerian. He made the disclosure in a post on his Instagram page. Meanwhile, Drake is not the first foreign superstar to claim Nigerian roots. Beyoncé, SCA, Still on entertainment, South African disc jockey Themba Sonoboy Sakowi, popularly known as DJ Maphorisa, has been arrested for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend Thuli Mfolongo. It is understood that Mfolongo sustained visible injuries from the incident. According to reports, the well-known Amapiano producer was reported to the police by Mfolongo after the domestic incident which happened at her Soundtown apartment in Johannesburg. What we have for you at this time, do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website spectrum.ng. You have been watching Spectrum TV News at 4.